Grant, you want to start us off with you want to sing something like Happy Holidays or Jingle Bells to start this podcast, or
Geez, on the spot.
Happy Holidays?
Happy holidays.
More of a white Christmas guy personally, but
If you're watching on the YouTube, welcome in. You can see the festivities. We have the lights, we have the Christmas trees, the presents. This is the Walk On Christmas podcast. One of the earliest ones we've ever recorded, by the way. Kev, I want to say we've done like one at like 7 a.m., one random time.
We used to record Sunday mornings, actually. Don't you remember?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
Changed it to Sunday nights.
it's never been Sunday mornings while I've been here.
That's true. It was a while ago.
Which is an anniversary that we're coming up on, Grant.
Close, yeah. It's coming up sometime in January.
About 2 years ago to the day is when I got an email from some Grant Allen kid.
I definitely didn't email you on Christmas. That's bad business practice. But
Well, this is coming out on Christmas Eve. We're recording it on the 23rd, Monday morning. It might have been a little after Christmas. It might have been.
Sure. Yeah, no, it was around. It's probably like early January, right before I went to school. So, yeah.
Here you are.
Happy to be here. Happy to still be around.
Are you? I was gonna say, how's your decision looking 2 years later?
I don't know. I think it's fun. I get we contribute to luckily a lot of money to the Children's Hospital. I don't think there's a more fun way to do it than talking about, football and one of my favorite sports teams. So I enjoy it. Get to talk to you guys. It's fun.
Is Caleb Johnson going to be a Bronco?
I hope so. I'm sure, our running backs are nice guys, but we could use some help there, for the Broncos to improve as we continue our climb back to the top of the NFL. And Caleb Johnson, I think, would 100% help us do that.
I only say that because that is one of maybe your favorite sports team. What's up, little girl? We're getting an interruption. I don't know where's your mom.
Is Kinley gonna sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Well, it's funny enough. I recorded an intro before this because immediately after we get done doing this, we're going to go to Marshalltown, and so I had Kinley give a little Merry Christmas into the mic, and I edited into the intro part of it where the music is. So, you want to say something? You want to say another Merry Christmas? You say, look at the camera. Look, do you see yourself? This is the True Holidays podcast right here. No, I saw a latest mock draft had Caleb Johnson going to the Broncos, and I thought, well,
what round?
First round.
I think first, yeah.
Late first round.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if he'll actually be a first rounder. That's the first mock draft I've seen with any Hawkeye in the first round. But
who was that out of? Who?
Was it PFF? It might have been a PFF one.
I have no idea. I'm not a huge mock draft guy, if I'm being totally honest, because after
after the first 5, maybe 10 picks, everything just kind of goes to hell from there. So.
Like I like projecting who the Broncos are going to pick because I care obviously, but I got no clue who's going 15th overall to pick a team like the Buccaneers or something. I got zero idea what's going to happen.
I believe the person who tagged me in it said if Grant tweets, if Grant says it enough, Caleb Johnson will be a Bronco, which brought me to another part that we'll update. This was news of last night.
Jeez.
Here, handoff. I don't know what she's doing.
He wasn't there.
There you go. Bye, Kenny. I love you too. The Hawkeyes were looking for a quarterback, still looking for a quarterback in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. And since our last podcast, it's been a while, by the way. Good to see you guys.
It's been a hot minute.
It must have been almost 2 weeks since we recorded the three of us. We did our last 5-10-5 and our last iCult show of the year. The big name in the portal was Penn State backup, which is crazy. Another conversation that we need to have. Penn State's they're still fighting for a national championship. This guy is a significant contributor to their team. I think he has he's responsible for 12 touchdowns this year or something.
Yeah. They would sub him in pretty often and do running sets. Yeah.
It's he's like their Brendan Sullivan, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
And guy gets in the portal, and you can't blame him because if you wait until they potentially win a national championship or whenever they're out, all the spots are going to be taken because of the way that this thing is structured. So
yeah, and Aller's got another year at least, probably.
He's
and
coming
said
back.
that he's coming back.
Yeah, so
And guys want to play, which is another thing I want to bring up in a second.
guys want to get paid. It's tough to get paid like a starter when you're the backup.
Well, and it was announced last night that he's not going to be coming to Iowa. He's the big guy. Everybody's Grant was in on it with all the burner accounts. They were putting together our campaign for the Hawkeyes to land Bo Pribula.
I'm doing my part. That's for sure.
You've been doing your part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I didn't do fucking shit.
Hey, there's just, my Twitter account, I've learned, comes up in a lot of people's algorithms sometimes that I don't expect. And part of me thinks that if I say
what if
enough
Lane
times,
Kiffin retweeted that again?
If Lane Kiffin retweeted my any of my Bo Pribula posts, I think he would be a Hawkeye. But he was visiting with Bo himself, so he probably didn't want to do that. But
This is what I was thinking. I was
brain
thinking maybe
thinks,
this
though,
is your fault, Grant. Maybe you didn't do enough.
I think I was getting borderline. I was looking at my Twitter account. I was like, I don't know if it's a good thing that like 90% of my tweets right now are about some like 21-year-old who doesn't even go through yet. Like
A
just like a
potential Hawkeye.
bunch of edits, bunch of random stuff. I was like, this might be a little questionable here. But
Yeah.
no, like part of me thinks that if I say it enough times, it might pop up in Bo's phone. And he'll see it and be like, maybe I am a Hawkeye. I don't know. They keep saying it.
Wait a second.
I don't know.
Hold on.
Shit, did I actually sign something when I was there?
It's like it's that meme where it's like it's Drewski pointing at himself. He's like,
Me? I might be. I don't know.
Me?
They keep telling me to. Could be
if
cool.
enough burner accounts say that I'm a Hawkeye, hey, it just feels right, man.
Like
Black and
again,
gold. He will be in the black and gold. He's going to go to Missouri, which reportedly he was offered 1.5 million, which is just absurd money for. He's largely unproven as a start. Like as much as he's helped Penn State this year, like that is still an unproven quarterback as a.
Yeah, I don't know. Has Aller ever gotten hurt and he's had to go in and throw the ball 30 times in a game?
I think he
He did
played the
against
entire
Wisconsin.
second half against Wisconsin.
Yep. Wisconsin.
Oh, that's right, he did.
And he did pretty well. I think he had, he was like 11 of 15 or something like that for.
Yeah, still 1.5 for a guy who's, you imagine's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll more than likely be successful down at Mizzou. But we had this conversation like a couple weeks back. It's like, imagine you have a $1 million war chest. Do you want to risk it all on one guy, or do you want to go get 5 to 8 really solid players?
I personally actually, and who knows, because Colt and all the people who were speculating on this and trying to, keep up with where he was going yesterday, they're like, this is okay for the Hawkeyes. Yes, this was the guy that they were going after, but there's still plenty of talent at quarterback in the portal. Some of it may not even be in the portal yet. So the chance that the Hawks still go after somebody of this caliber and have to spend a bunch of money, it's still an.
So here's my other question. Did we get Hank Brown for free, or like what happened there?
So from what I understand, this is what David said on the podcast I did with him was I believe the understanding between Hank and Iowa, both parties, is that he was not a high ticket
Portal
recruit
guy.
He has 3 years left, and it was communicated to him that they would be still looking for a guy to step in right away and start next year, with Hank potentially being the guy
The next guy
2 or 3 years from now. Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's totally fair, by the way.
I think it is too, but
he's still young.
But then how do you guys already been in the portal 2 years after not starting at Auburn? So if you have to wait till your senior year to start at Iowa, are you really going to stay at Iowa for 2 years? Who knows? Like this whole portal thing is nuts. But I'm with you, Kev. We talked, like you said, we talked about it, and I don't think it's the move for Iowa. It sounds like that's what they want to do, but I don't think, and depending on how much money they have and where they're filling other spots, I guess they know better than us. But man, if you have to reach and spend more money than you'd like.
I mean, I get it, especially in college football, a top 5, even top 10 quarterback in college football is a game changer for your team.
Yeah.
And I'd be okay with that. Like going after a dude who's played a year and proven that he's like really good. It's just, it's more of a stretch for guys that are less experienced, right? It's like it's risky.
Yeah, I just think that
Like the rumors that there's some Big Ten school going to offer Quentin Ewers like $4 million next year.
Michigan State.
That was us. We're doing it.
It was
But right, I get that, right? You pretty much know what you're going to get, and it's like this is what it's worth to our team, and
yeah.
This will translate to this many more wins next year or whatever.
Did you see
Moneyball,
real quick tangent? There's a BYU basketball player that got like $5 to $8 million for 1 year.
He's the number one recruit in the country.
And they're just like, yeah, bring him in.
He's going to BYU. Yeah. I think he's from Utah as well. But the BYU's got an interesting little NIL program there. It's actually pretty, I like what they do.
I would imagine BYU is well funded.
It is quite well funded, but they do a good job setting people up. So I could understand why he'd want to go there.
But
for
again,
NIL reasons.
again with the quarterback thing, it's just like, I don't know, man. At Iowa, I don't know how much your quarterback is going to like. Yes, to an extent, it is great to have a great quarterback, but like our defense and our special, like we don't need a top end quarterback that's going to.
Well, I mean, if you're just looking at the big picture, I think, we saw the defense take a tiny step back this year. I mean, they were elite for several years there.
Yeah.
Okay, and they went back to being pretty damn good.
We went from great to very good.
Yes. It's probably going to take another step back next year.
You would think so.
So we do need to make moves on the offense to continue the improvement on that side of the ball and not expect the defense to just be bailing us out again next year.
You're right.
So given that, and I also think if you get one of those big time quarterbacks who's like really athletic, can make all the throws, that opens up your offense. You can do more things.
Yeah.
You don't have to play within this system as much.
It's gonna be tough. Even as you would hope that with Tim Lester in the second year in an offensive scheme, and he's starting to get a couple more of his guys. He's got a heavy hand in the portal right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You would hope that the offense could take a step forward, but even there, you're starting to question, well, God, we had the second best running back in the country. How is that? Like, losing him isn't going to be great. Like, I love Jazz. I love Kamari Moulton. There's promise on the younger guys too, and who they're bringing in, but it's hard to really replace that as well. So you're like, well, damn, it might be hard to take a large step forward offensively even. Obviously this year we took a huge step forward, and I think we ended up somewhere around that 60 to 70th range as far as scoring offense goes, which is exactly where Tim Lester wanted to take us in year one. I'd love to know, maybe there will be another podcast with him in the off season with Lysico or somebody where he explains his goals for year two. But yeah, Iowa's in a weird spot. They're in a weird spot. I will say this, as far as the bowl game goes, other than the people who are in the portal and Caleb Johnson, I don't know of anybody else major that's opting out of the bowl game. I think everybody's pretty much playing in the bowl game. So that's good. We're going to preview-ish some bowl games that are coming up / the Iowa bowl game as part of this episode. This episode's going to come out on, like I said, Christmas Eve, Tuesday. And then this is your podcast through Christmas and the game and the new year next week. Grant and I, maybe Kevin, if he's available, I haven't decided yet if I want to do this, but we may do a recap, like instant reaction bowl podcast next Monday around this time, Tuesday.
Well, the game's on Monday, so
it would be after the game on Monday.
Oh yeah, the game's like in the middle of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's
1:30.
1:30.
Yeah, so we could hop on and do like a half hour of like, all right, this is it, final podcast of the year. Hawks win or lose. See you in 2025 kind of thing. I think we're set up well there. I think more often than not, you're going to find those types of guys that are going to play for Iowa, the Jay Higgins, the Nick Jacksons. who are going to play their last game in the black and gold. Sam Laporta a couple years ago, Jack Campbell, those guys all playing in the bowl game. Joe Evans, run them down the list. It's going to be a weird off season, and there's obviously a lot of spots to fill. We'll move along here, and I did want to bring an update. We pondered on this a couple weeks ago of how many Christmas lights would be up at Coach Ferentz's house. Evidently, we have an informant in the Patreon, which doesn't surprise me at all. Someone that's close, someone that talks to Mary. Mary said no Christmas lights at their house.
Really?
0 Christmas lights at the Ferentz residence. So
do they just throw up a couple of wreaths on the outside of the house or something?
I don't know how much decoration there is, but no lights.
Okay. Is she a big light pollution advocate?
Could be. I still think it'd just be so funny for KF to get home, after a long day at the facility, just like, ho, 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 Merry fucking Chris, all these fucking lights. I wonder what our light bill is. Mary, what's the light bill? What's our electric bill, huh?
I was expecting it to look like the Griswolds, just a full house covered in lights.
In my
I watched
mind,
that movie last night. That's an all-time Christmas movie right there.
You've been watching a lot of Christmas movies, Kev?
We watched a couple Christmas movies yesterday. Yeah.
Man, I talked with Grant about this like last week or 2 weeks ago. It's like, I don't remember the last time I sat down and watched any kind of movie. Like,
you've gone several Christmases without
You have a
seeing
2-year-old
Christmas
child
movie?
and you don't watch movies with her?
so yeah, she's TV shows are good, but
So you a big Bluey fan?
you cannot even fathom how much Bluey we've watched in the last 5 days. Bluey specifically as of the last 5 days.
The writers of Bluey might be the most powerful people in the world right now because they completely control the under 4 demographic.
Oh, dude,
in the United States.
There's like 3 seasons at least on YouTube TV, and they each have like 50 episodes, and I've seen every episode like 4 times. It's unbelievable. Movie wise, she doesn't and maybe it's just her but she's not interested in sitting for that long to like get in.
What about like Charlie Brown Christmas movie? It's like 25 minutes.
Maybe, but we have not specifically watched that one. Okay. They will be coming though. Like I am excited to like for her to be able to like be interested enough in like the Disney movies, like throw on Moana, throw on Frozen.
You're gonna like it at first, but then you're gonna absolutely despise those songs eventually.
Yeah.
So like whenever I go hang out with my niece, it's like she went through a big Moana phase where it's like every time I was over there, we were watching Moana and
Kevin shows up and he's like, God damn it, I've seen this movie so many times.
I feel bad for your parents.
Yeah, no, I'm already there. There's other things, a lot of songs, Miss Rachel, Blippi, Mika. There's a lot of songs, a lot of themes that are just constantly going on in my head as I go through my work day, just any random day of the week. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. No lights at the Ferentz house. Grant did mention at the top of the show that we get to do a cool thing around here. I want to make sure we mention this. We do make the donation to the kids every December, and $60,000. I just made it even. $60,000. Not this year alone, but if we made $60,000, Kevin wouldn't have to work a striker.
So you made it even. Did you match, or you just sprinkled on top? What do you mean you made it even?
I made it even to our total donation all time.
Okay.
I brought us to $60,000.
We've been doing this. Is this year 6?
Did we donate the first year? I don't think
we did.
I don't think we did. So that would have been
because we didn't have anything to donate the first year.
Right. Well, we did run a really
exactly right. That all went to shit. So
yeah, just bad. Just the toughest thing, biggest merch store we've ever done, and it just flopped. So sad. So I think we started donating in 19. So I believe this is this would be 6. Yeah, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah. 6th year. So we're averaging a $10,000 per year donation, and it was not that big in the beginning. So very cool thing that we get to do here. I don't remember if this was the case the previous years that I've done this, but on the website, when you go to donate, you can make the donation in memorial or in memory or in tribute of someone. And it doesn't change anything about it. It just kind of ties their name to it. I don't know if you guys saw this year or last year when they did the crossover at Kinnick, that 11-year-old Christy Bujakowska was her last name. She passed away earlier this year, and so I put her name down. I was crushed when I saw that news out of Jan and the basketball. I think that was just a few months ago. And then I had a family member who, well, really one of Lauren's family members who went through some really tough stuff and lost a little girl really close to Kinley's age. And obviously all of that hits home a lot for me. So to be able to do that, I was sitting there making the donation, just like tears running down my face. It was like, it was one of those moments where it's just a random, like Tuesday last week when I decided to make the donation. And it is one of those things where I'm just like, damn, this is really cool that we get to do this. And it's because of everyone listening to the show right now at home, on the drive to your family's house for Christmas or the holidays, or you're doing laundry or the dishes or something, and you're listening to the walk-ons. And then even further than that, everybody who has contributed to the Patreon is a Patreon member. This year, you can gift a Patreon subscription, and that money helps go to this end of year donation. So thank you to everybody who participates, that continues to listen, continues to be part of the walk-on army. It's a really cool thing. And we get to, I put as the note on the donation, like there's a note section, and this is specifically in Drake's voice. I was like, what did I put? Like, give those kids a shitload of presents or something like that. Hook those kids up with some presents or something like that. I don't remember what I put. So pretty cool to be able to do that. We'll get to Iowa on the back end of this, but let's first talk about this past weekend. Actually, we had some bets that we put out this past weekend. Grant, you want to pull up the betting recap? Even though we didn't necessarily do this on show, Grant has made sure to stay on top of the betting stuff. Drake was not happy about this on the Instagram.
Do you like that little needle I put out there?
Yeah, you're like, tough year for Drake.
Hey,
what was his one pick?
He bet Army money line. He bet a 7-point favorite money line, and that's the one game he lost.
And he's on the board, 0-1 for the year.
Tough. Just tough.
So we put bet. I mean, Jesus. Grant put out. I guess, are some of these games, have they all gone yet, Grant?
No,
the ones that you
like
bet
the
on?
Myrtle Beach Bowl is going on right now.
Okay,
Carolina.
And could you inform me on who's in the Myrtle Beach Bowl?
So it is UTSA, the Fighting Roadrunners versus Coastal Carolina, who is playing in their home stadium right now.
Love that. Who's winning?
It's 0-0. Just started.
Okay. Kevin and I just bet the playoff games. So the first round, which we'll dive in discussion about here. Notre Dame.
The favorites, they all swept.
Yeah.
Did.
By significant margins. Actually, I guess the Notre Dame game ended up being a 10-point game in the end.
10, yeah.
They controlled that game from start to finish.
So Notre Dame, for me personally, Notre Dame -7 hits. Texas Clemson, that did not go under. They scored quite a bit of points in that game. Tennessee +7.5. That did not go well. So I was 1 for 3. Looks like Kevin was.
Yeah, so I had the other side of the Indiana game. I thought they would be able to stick around. Man, they just did not play well, like especially on defense. No. I guess on offense too. I mean,
ton of penalties too.
Ton of penalties, tons of missed tackles. Yeah, they just didn't play well. Didn't show up. I thought I expected more out of the Hoosiers, but maybe the moment was just a little too big for them. They did not cover. I had SMU +8.5. Obviously, that was a shit show too. I mean, That was one of the worst quarterback performances I've seen in a long time.
But hold on, SMU Twitter told me he was winning the Heisman next year. Is that true?
Probably not. No, probably not.
I would say don't listen to Twitter.
It's crazy because as bad as he played in the first half, like Penn State's up 14-0. They go for it on their own 19-yard line, don't get it, and it's like, okay, like
He'll probably throw another pick. We're good.
SMU is like couldn't do anything, and they could have scored a touchdown right there and been right back in the game. They're on the 3-yard line, and the guy throws a pick. I'm like, oh my god, this is a terrible bet. And then I had Texas laying the points, and they end up covering by what they win by 14.
I think they won by 14.
Yeah, and it's sort of a display of the entire weekend. Kind of the entire story was that these games weren't great games, and that's what everyone's pissed about right now, or at least fake.
I think this is just more of a symptom of going to 12 teams instead of 8. I think you go from like the top 8 teams this year, all probably pretty competitive with one another. I think that next tier of 9 through 12 is not so much.
It's not like
I think you're going to see that again with the 2 buys that wouldn't have been buys otherwise with the Boise State and Arizona State. I just don't think they're in the same class as the other 6 teams left in the playoffs.
Texas plays Arizona State, right?
2 touchdown favorites.
Jesus Christ!
Hey,
And
count
what's
out
the line on
Scatterby.
what's the line on Boise Penn State?
10.5, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean the other point here is that the playoff, even at 4 teams, was not immune to blowouts either. We saw plenty.
Oh, and also home field advantage, massive,
huge, especially when you factor in some weather, which is what we've always wanted to see. So you got to. I guess it's just the modern day, like pick and choose what you want to bitch about. That's it. I don't know. You're never going to make people happy. People want 12 teams and the games are bad. Well, this is what happens when you go to 12 teams. Okay, well, I don't know what you want to do. Like even back when we would have made the playoff, Kev, which really kind of hurts. We didn't make it. Michigan State went and got absolutely
annihilated by
dog walked by Alabama.
I think they lost worse than we lost to Stanford.
I think it was 30.
I think they got shut out.
It was 38-0.
Yeah.
Bad.
Derrick Henry, stiff arm, right in my face. It's crazy.
I would have done any. I mean, I
You
would have done
were
anything.
at that game?
No, but as a Big Ten guy, it felt personal. Like I had my pride on the line, and he just.
You were a
stiff
Big
armed
Ten
me.
guy back in 2015.
I'm a Big Ten lifer, man. All right,
Okay.
I'm conference till I die. All right, my name on Twitter is Big Ten Grant. What'd you expect?
I didn't expect Colorado living Grant Allen to be a Big Ten fan at that time.
Grant,
we were brainwashed from an early age.
Grant, you're 22 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, 22.
So 9 years ago, you were 13. Grant, Kevin and I were trying to make it to the college football playoff, and Grant was in 7th grade.
Yeah,
Grant was just spouting out some pubes.
I believe I was in 8th grade when you guys were doing that.
That is, time is a funny thing. Yeah, so this happened, right? And I think they put up some of the graphics of when TCU, who got absolutely blown out in the Michigan TCU.
TCU beat Michigan, then TCU turned around and got throttled
by Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Here, I
Like
got
65-7 or something like that.
63-7.
So
I
it's
have
like
some stats actually for this. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah, bring them up.
Yeah, so it was 13 of the 16 semifinals in the 14 playoff were decided by 10 plus, and then 20 of the 30 games of the 14 playoff were decided by double digits.
Jeez.
Oh.
So I mean, you're talking about theoretically the top 4 teams over the course of the 4-team playoff era. So it's like maybe it isn't. Like maybe it's just like sometimes a team shows up and the other team doesn't, and that's what you get.
Especially postseason, like when you get out of your weekly routine of like being in game week mode.
Yeah.
It really shows who the better prepared team is come game time, because it can be hard to handle that. Like you get thrown off your routine, you do your finals, you have a couple of weeks of bowl prep practices where it's mostly young guys taking all the reps.
Get a little rusty.
Better. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I think you see that sometimes. You see it with missed tackles, penalties, stuff like that. Miscues on special teams, which also Indiana's punter, horrible.
It's bad. Bad punting weekend, I would just say as a whole. By the
Yes, bad punting weekend in general. Yeah.
It's tough to punt
awful
in the
weekend
cold,
for
man.
punters. Like that SMU punter, he shanked his first one, like 30 yards.
I saw the SMU's average temperature for a game this year in their 12 or 13 previous games was like 72 degrees.
Damn.
Yeah, SMU in terms of environment could not be like they're at like Gerald Ford Stadium or whatever they playing over there. It's
holds like 30,000, I think,
and it maybe has 10 in it. Like it's never been full ever. And then all of a sudden they go to 106,000. It's 15 degrees outside. Like Kevin Jennings, when they were interviewing him before the game, is like blowing into his hands, like wearing shorts.
Like, hey,
I was like, get the cameras off of him, like,
buddy.
This is bad,
buddy. You guys aren't built for this. Let's just be honest here.
This is not gonna. It's not good.
In fact, looking back now, I should have it feels like we should have just put the house on Penn State. Like obviously a hindsight kind of thing, but it's like, man, they were never going to win that game. They were never going to do anything in that game.
Oh, man, their defense didn't play that bad to start. I mean, the guy threw 2 pick sixes, and
like
the quarterback just shit down his leg. Is all.
Penn State didn't play well. Like I'll say it. Like go look at Drew Hour's stat line. He didn't play well. No touchdowns.
I feel like Drew Aller is he's a polarizing figure. Some people love him, and some people are like, "What do we see in this guy?"
I think his good is really, really good.
He's got a high ceiling, but
you don't get that every game.
Wide range.
Can I say another thing about the playoff real quick?
Yeah, anything you want.
So the first playoff game ever was 50-29. Do you guys remember as much of an uproar as there was for a 10-point Indiana loss?
Would that have been Oregon, Florida State?
It was Oregon, Florida State. Yeah. Like blowout, worse than Indiana Notre Dame. Do you remember as much of an uproar as there was this time?
No.
Or were people just happy that we finally had a playoff?
I think people were just happy to finally had a playoff. And then Ohio State beat Bama, and then Ohio State ran away. Like they dusted Oregon, I think, right? Cardale Shotgun Jones.
Cardale Jones is actually getting in the mix this weekend on Twitter. He was being a warrior.
Oh, is that right?
he was in the trenches fight with us out there.
I just don't think you're ever gonna. We saw Grant just gave us the stats. Like
this is why my thing was, if you're complaining about being left outside the 12, you are probably never going to compete for the championship regardless. Like, yes, it's cool to be included. Like, oh, we made the playoffs, but like Grant just said, those stats, like it's always been like the top 4 or 5 teams. You really like top 1, 2, 3 teams.
I was going to say there's usually 2 or 3 teams that legitimately you're like
had a shot.
That's an elite team. And I think this year those teams are Oregon, Ohio State, and
Texas.
Maybe Texas. The
thing is that all 3 of those teams are on the same side of the bracket.
I know. And that's the thing, is there are issues with this thing, but the issues are fixable, but you're just not going to fix all of the perceived problems with this, because the bigger you make it, the more space you're leaving for potential issues. Like, so you're just going to have to be unhappy with some things. I
do think reseeding it would help.
Reseeding definitely would help.
I think fixing
reseeding after the first round.
Well, I just in general fix all of the seed, like make the top 4 seeds the buys.
I think they will.
I think that would improve the game.
Just do it on pure rankings basis for the buys. And
next year, I believe they will do that. I think they will give 1 through 4 the buys. I think they'll fix it, but maybe they won't. I don't know.
I think
that needs to be.
Have to do it. Yeah.
What do we think about
that first game? Is going to be an even bigger blowout now, but it would also fix. It would fix the other games dramatically.
Well, but that's something you have to accept too. Is like, well, in the NCAA tournament, they line up that 1 versus the 16 seed, and like, yeah, sure, Virginia lost that 1 year.
Shout out UMBC, man. We don't talk about them enough.
We don't talk about UMBC enough around there. But
shout out Fairleigh Dickinson.
You give them that chance, right? But you know that likely the result is going to be that 1 seed wins by 27 points on that
They're
first
supposed
third.
to. They're being rewarded for their good season.
And so that's maybe we have maybe a little bit of this is we just don't have the expectation yet. We're like, oh, we're going to give it 12 teams. They're all going to be great games. And then what you don't realize, what you don't take into consideration as a group of college football fans is like, okay, but those top 3 teams, there's a gap. There's a gap there between them and 12 or 15. Like, or if, I don't remember what Arizona State finished ranked or whatever Big 12 team. Like they're like 15 or 16th in the rankings. There's a gap there.
Yeah, I had this conversation this weekend. It's like, I do believe with transfer portal, NIL, rev share coming, there will be more parity among the top 15 teams or so. Like who like athletic departments with tons of money, big boosters, and have all the resources that you could want. They're going to be able to spread out the money, and the talent will follow the money and probably even out a little bit more among those top 15 or so teams. And then everyone else below that is just going to be hard to compete, I think.
I was going to say the line will move where the parity begins and ends.
Right. So like for the 4-team college football playoff era, there is rarely
you're kind of talking about
4 or 5 teams that is like, it's like 2 or maybe 3 teams. It's like, oh, we're going to have Bama and Clemson at it again this year. And that's going to be it.
And then maybe Ohio State or somebody else jumped in there. Now it's going to be the top 12 to 15 to 16 teams. And then like every once in a while, you're going to be like, oh, Iowa or Iowa State jumped in there in the last spot. Like that's honestly where we're at. Like the line moves, more teams are relevant, but
I think you'll still have yes, those teams make the playoffs, but won't compete for a national
title.
Will
never compete. They have a chance.
Yeah,
theoretically.
You'll get in, you get a chance to play the game, but until they're consistently getting the top talent, it's so hard to beat talent, especially when these coaching staffs are paid so well. Like there's such an incentive to perform. Most of them are on their shit,
especially when they have to win 4 games in a row against elite talent to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll happen. Like, one of these years, maybe that 11 or 12 seed wins 2 games in a row and they find themselves in the Final Four. And that's the year where everyone's like, this is what we're doing it for. Like, this is what's
possible,
cool.
Right? It's possible. But again, kind of like Grant says, like you're in the playoffs, you have to win 4 games in a row. It's not like we catch Ohio State coming into Kinnick after we barely beat Minnesota the week before, and there's like thinking I'm probably just going to walk over this one. Yeah, you're going to get the team's best game most likely in the playoffs, unless they, again, like I said, messed up their bowl period where postseason. You're more than likely going to get that team's best shot, and when you get a good team's best shot, they don't lose to the underdog very often.
No. Switching gears a little bit here.
I went 5-3, by the way, in case anyone's curious.
Oh,
heading recap wise.
Good job,
5-3.
Great job. Had a question from somebody on Twitter that was kind of asking about KF. I don't know if these numbers that this person put out are exactly right. I have to imagine that there's a better chance they are than they aren't. But this person asked, does Kirk care about being in the College Football Hall of Fame? If the CFB Hall of Fame is something that KF wants, right now he's eligible. If they lose the bowl game, he isn't. Because there is a line of demarcation at 60%. You have to have a 600% win percentage over your career to technically be eligible for the Hall of Fame. So evidently we're literally right on that line right now, where the bowl game would flip us to not eligible if we were to somehow lose that. Needs to go 9-4 next year, counting a bowl game. If he wants in, does he stay until he gets it? Like, does he care about something like that? I would.
I would assume he does. He's a human. Like that's a cool accomplishment. Like where anyone else would. All else being equal, would you rather be in the Hall of Fame or not? Everyone would rather be in the Hall of Fame. To insinuate that he's not gonna coach this game is a dumb.
I don't think the insinuation is that he won't coach this game. He's obviously going to coach this game. I think the insinuation is will he like next year, if next year is like a 7 or 8 win season, will he then coach another year and another year until he's back into the I I don't think it's big enough for coach to alter his career length.
I agree. I think he said, like, he's having fun. He likes working with his staff, and he likes developing young men. And when you have a good staff around you and you like the players and they're good guys, it's easy to keep going. I don't think that he'll just keep chasing that if, like, we have an off year next year and he's like, man, I'm kind of done, but I really got to get in the college football Hall of Fame. I don't really see that. It's
and if you, like you said, if you start coaching for the wrong reasons, one of them being, I'm coming back next year, I'd really like to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right, exactly.
It's going to go poorly. You're going to start to hate waking up every morning and doing it very quickly. Another question. This was part of, for anybody that listens to Legend and Listeners with Lystico and Doctorman, they had a podcast last week, kind of talked about the grander landscape of college football, offered up some potential fixes to how this transfer portal thing is going to work. And one of the worst parts about it, we kind of already mentioned it, is if these kids want to not waste time and they want to get on to their new school and their new position and start learning that offense, learning that system. The problem is that spring semester starts right away. They have to do what Bo Pribula is doing, because they have to find a spot and get there and enroll in classes and figure out what they're doing. Lysico and Doctorman offered up a potential solution, and someone asked, if you listen to the show, how would players feel about moving spring practice to June? So your spring ball is now in June, so that you wouldn't necessarily have to find your new home until the end of the year. You can get away from the season a little bit more. You can finish out your spring semester at that whatever school. You still have time. The window, I don't know where the transfer portal window ends up starting and ending in that scenario, but you then do your spring ball over the first 4 or 5 weeks of the summer, I guess. It would theoretically work calendar-wise. Yes, it would help, but I think the immediate thing that comes to mind for me is, wow, spring ball and camp are very close.
Spring ball exists, yeah. Spring ball, it's gonna be hot. Don't like that. Spring ball camp really close. That's a 1 month recovery period between the two.
Yeah.
And then just from a sports performance perspective, you kind of want to be peaking in the summer.
Yeah.
So like we go 2 months hard in the weight room, then you got a couple months of spring ball, then you do you start building up your top speed velocity in May, and then June, July is like you're really hitting it in the weight room and
it's a lot of volume.
Speed work. Like you're at your peak performance at the end of July, and you're conditioned, like you're ready to go, and so that you're geared up for a long season. Yeah, that's from an athlete standpoint, I don't think it's ideal.
I think the product suffers.
Yes.
Now, theoretically,
also, you're going to hold a kid hostage on a team for another semester that he doesn't want to be there. I don't. I get it affects players on teams who make the playoffs, but it's bad for everybody else.
Yeah, it's going to fix a problem.
It's going to fix a problem for
the
5% of transfers.
Yeah, it's a little bit of just catering to the minority and really adding more issues to the majority there. I get it. I understand that there's the window and how this works. It's got to change, or they have to find some solution to it. And no one really has an answer right now. I don't think moving it to June would be, unless spring ball just becomes a extremely truncated version of what it used to be, which again, I don't think that's good, because think about the Hawkeyes right now. They need 15 practices and 5 weeks worth of meetings to really get that new system installed with no game pressure. They don't that's huge. And if you truncate that down to 3 weeks in the summer, close to it's going to hurt the product. I don't think it's a good idea. So I don't have any answers to it.
Can I throw a crazy hypothetical out there that, again, would not happen? This will never happen, by the way. But what if hypothetically they move, games started August 1st instead? if somehow they got that to happen and like the season was over second week of December. Again, that would never happen. But
well, now we're cutting.
That's a better suggestion, in my opinion, actually. Yeah.
The summer now has to be shorter because camp has to start earlier. But
like
I think
August 1 game start.
I think it technically would be better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that moves your camp to July. Basically, you wouldn't go home after finals. You'd start your summer conditioning right after finals.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You basically, what would get hurt is that 3-week break after spring.
Someone's got to get hurt.
So yeah, it's guys would.
You get Christmas.
It's nice to have a little week in the summer to go home. It's nice to have a little break after finals to go home. But I mean, I guess these guys are being paid like professional athletes now and can kind of expect it to be.
Suck it up.
You get a nice long break after the season too. So honestly, it's a better idea than moving spring ball to June, in my opinion. Yeah. Now they're not going to do it because of kids not being back in school yet. And
like I said, that's never going to happen.
But
I don't know. In my mind,
honestly, maybe TV deals get a little better, a little less time competing with the NFL.
I think the issue too is
that the TVs are hurting for content in August. All you got is baseball.
Yeah, I have no solutions. I keep seeing this pop up every once in a while. It's like we need to bring back there should be a penalty or some sort of sit out rule if you do transfer. Like you can't be eligible right away. I don't love that idea to the full extent, but I don't think I would hate
after one.
Yeah,
free transfer.
I think there needs to be a little bit more structure around it. There's 17 different angles to all of this, and I just it's going downhill very quickly, and I don't know what people smarter than me need to figure it out, because it almost just seems like a merry-go-round. Like 6 different teams, all their second strings all just transfer to each other for 1.5 million because of hope and promise. Like the school that they're at right now doesn't want them, but one of the other ones does because of what they could be. And then they realize the next year, oh wait, it didn't work out after 1 year. And so they just all are in that same cycle again. It's just nothing's really working, to be honest. I have no idea. I'll tell you this. It's the season of being thankful, right? And I think that today we should, as a podcast, the 3 hosts should go around and we should all say something in 2024 that we're thankful that happened this year. It's not Thanksgiving, but we kind of didn't do this around.
Is that a holiday that happened a month ago?
It is, but it's also, it's the holiday season. It's the end of the year.
It's a season of giving right now.
It's a season of recap. It's a culmination. I just want to hear. It doesn't have to be crazy. Like, I'm sure Kevin got married this year. It was probably a highlight of here. It doesn't have to be something you're thankful for. It could just be a highlight of your year.
Well, those are 2 different things.
Okay, we'll just do highlights.
Because it's highlight of the year, and I don't say my wedding, I'm going to be divorced real soon.
She doesn't listen.
Oh, I think she does, just to keep tabs on me.
She's taking notes.
Yeah.
I could go first. I mean, obviously Kevin's wedding is probably up there as far as a highlight. I don't know if anybody listened. I know Grant and Kevin obviously both know, and I said it on the podcast with Lima. I don't know how many people listened to it, but Kinley will be getting a sibling in May of next year. So, you know, that's a highlight. We're growing the family. It's technically happening next year, but process started this year.
Well done. Congrats on the sex.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Sick brag. Nice.
Yeah,
that's what this segment's about. Just to brag.
Yeah. Hey, what's your best humble brag of 2025? Grant, you got anything?
Is that actually a humble brag?
You graduated. Grant graduated this year.
I did. Isn't that crazy that
Yeah.
happened? Yeah, no, I don't know. They got like, I don't know. I'm here. Like I said, every day is a gift. Just
He said,
happy.
"I'm here. I'm here."
Like, I don't know. Could
Thankful
not
to
be.
still be here.
Humble brag. I'm here.
I'm grateful to be able to witness the 2024 Myrtle Beach Bowl. I'm happy
Has
to be
anybody
here.
scored in there?
No, oh no, UTSA just scored actually, but
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, it was cool to graduate. Got a new little job starting up in January. That'll be fun to get going. And
Welcome to the shit.
yeah, well, we're deep in it. Don't plan on leaving walk-ons or anything, but it's
Well, that's good.
yeah, no, it's I don't know directly. I don't know. Just got family and friends that love me. Got people that listen to this that I love, and yeah, it's cool.
Is there anything that you guys are
Put me
looking
on the
forward
spot.
to holiday season, Christmas wise, over the next week? That'll be your favorite part of Christmas season?
I love looking at that Corona Extra commercial where they whistle "Oh Christmas Tree" and it lights up the palm tree. It's my favorite part of Christmas.
That is not what I was expecting, but
That is honestly a great commercial. Not a good commercial. A great commercial.
yeah.
I also like the
It's
M&M.
been around for like 20 years too. I think.
It's
I
been
was
airing since the
I was
90s,
expecting
yeah.
an answer like, "Oh yeah, my grandma makes amazing Christmas cookies, and I can't wait to eat them next, on Friday." And yeah, but hey, the Dos Equis commercial or whatever, that's great.
Corona. Or
Corona.
I also like the M&M's commercial from like the early 2000s too that they haven't changed.
Santa. What does he say? He's like, he is real. They
Yeah.
are real. That is a good commercial, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like the aspect ratio hasn't changed either for like new TVs, so they got the black bars just show up right
Oh, yeah.
away on them too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of funny. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Only you. Only you. I was anything you were looking forward to in the next 7 days or the end of this year for around the holiday season. Like, I don't know, maybe you asked for a gift that you're really hoping you get, but you came up with commercials, and I'm fully aboard that train.
I don't know. I think it's cool to see your family in Christmas time. Not all my family lives in
For some people,
Colorado,
yeah.
so it's cool to see my family and get to hang out with all them.
Yeah.
Hawaii Bowl Christmas Eve. That's really cool.
That's a staple right there.
My favorite over the next, obviously seeing family, prime rib for Christmas dinner tonight. Actually, will be when we're doing it with my in-laws. So we'll have a little prime rib dinner tonight. Very excited about that. And probably a highlight. We've always worn the the black and red plaid Christmas pajamas on Christmas Day. And the fact that Kinley's been added to the family now, she has her own little set of 2T Christmas pajamas, and she's obviously adorable in them. So that'll be a highlight of the next couple days. She's this year at 2 years old going to understand and be a lot better at opening presents and being excited about it than she was at 1 year old. So that should be pretty exciting. Just 2 hours straight of Kinley just ripping, probably open everybody's gifts. Actually, no one will have to open their gifts because Kinley will open everybody's. So that's great. And she has a lot of great presents coming. So when you have a kid, it's fun. Like buying kids gifts is awesome.
I'm gonna say, are you going to be up on Christmas Eve assembling?
Let's see,
little, like castle or something, or
we did not buy her anything this year that requires too much assembly. So I think there is one little like playhouse. I think it's like 4 pieces. So yeah, nothing crazy. No IKEA instructions or anything that I'm gonna have to work through. Kevin understands that. Kevin has nieces and nephews that
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, man. It's brought a new livelihood to the Christmases and the holidays, having all the Rugrats running around. Yeah, so gonna have 4.
How many nieces and nephews do you have?
5 total. 4 on my side, and then Alyssa has 1 nephew, and they'll have another nephew come in the spring. So it's growing.
The energy definitely changes. Like
the energy changes. Yeah.
It's pretty great.
You cool uncle at Christmas, or what are you doing?
I am the cool uncle. So
Okay.
my oldest nephews are 5, well, almost 5 and 3, and they always tell me we got to go down to the stairs and we got to play boomers. Basically,
What is boomers?
We tackle each other, basically.
Oh, nice. It's literal.
Bring the boom.
Pretty much.
Boomers. That's funny.
Yeah. Toss them around, throw them on the couch. They come tackle me.
When they get tired, Kevin sits them down and gives them.
No, they don't get tired. They don't get tired.
Yeah, you're right.
They got motors, man. They keep going.
The
Go
kids are
downstairs.
amazing.
Yeah,
Kevin's
got one
Cut
young
85's
girl.
got nothing on these little buggers.
Kevin will slip them a little spiked eggnog here and there. Just keep them just.
Hey, what? They can eat too. They can house some food.
Well, they are a part of your family, so
They're 5 and 3 years old, man. They're a combined 80 pounds, and they eat like a grown man.
well, you got to think they're still in that growing stage. They have the power of growth hormone and everything everything is just pure growth oriented. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I wish that I was still in that stage.
same.
I like that you at 5 and 3 we make it an aggregate weight. They're like the Power Rangers. They become one giant.
It is
Their
funny.
powers
The
are mightier
stats,
together.
it's funny the stats because Kinley's birthday is the 16th, and then Christmas. So like her 2-year doctor appointment was last week, and she's 32 pounds, 211. It's just so like that's a human. She runs around. She's part of our life,
It's like,
but she's 32 pounds, 211.
you get all of
just
her
an
compound
absolute-
stats. Did she have to do
absolute
her
unit.
bench press at the doctor?
She has started to do push-ups with me, so
You can do push-ups.
she loves that.
How's that form?
Could be better.
What about
We gotta work.
pull-ups?
We got to work on it,
What about our mobility? That's what we got
Oh.
to start. That's like when I get a kid, we're starting with mobility work.
bro. I still to this day, weird guy, hang out in the bottom of a squat like when I'm playing with her and stuff, and so they naturally do that. But then she sees me do it, and she'll do it even more. And so she's ass to grass, man. She's ankle mob.
Just walk around the house doing a duck walk. She'll just follow you around.
She
like a
started
duck.
crab walking the other day, and Lauren and I have never showed her that. So she's at that age where things she starts to say or things she does comes from nowhere, and we're like, where did you get that? It's pretty great. She is in the 93rd percentile for height and 97th percentile for her head. Has a huge nog.
Big old noggin, huh?
So
Oh,
we're looking for her to be.
Is Lauren's family tall or?
Yeah, not her dad is 6. They're not tall, but they're taller than me. Taller than my family. I would say Lauren's mom, sister, and her all like 5'9", 5'10".
Okay,
Her dad's 6'1" ish, 6'2" maybe.
so slightly above average.
So there's a chance Kinley could be 5'10", maybe outgrow us and be 5'11", 6 feet tall. Who knows?
How tall do you have to be a D1 volleyball player?
Well, if you choose
Like
one of-
assuming you're not the libero or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
So as a setter or libero, you can be small. Like the best teams in the country have girls who are 5'4", 5'5", playing those positions. It would help at the one position to be a little taller, but it definitely narrows. Like you can't be the hitter, right? Like you're probably not going to be.
Yeah,
the
it's
middle.
like, okay, kid, you're 5'2", you can be the kicker, but you're not playing any other position.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless it's 1939 and you're Niall Kinnick.
Easy there. Not in the holidays, man.
Christmas. Come on, dude.
Come on.
Come on.
Have
Okay.
some respect.
It's okay. It's a veteran you're making fun of, but it's all right.
I'm not making fun of him.
I don't
I'm
know.
saying
You're
it's
not-
incredible that at 5'7", 165 pounds, he played 42 positions. It's incredible.
Someone actually say 5'7" is like really tall. That's like a really impressive height.
I think it was above average in 1939, probably.
Napoleon, 5'9", people forget.
All right.
Can I say one more thing I'm thankful for?
Yeah.
What about for Christmas, the actual birth of Christ, where the holiday comes from?
Yeah, go for it.
I'd like to throw that out there. That's what I'm thankful for.
Fun fact. Do you know why Christmas isn't in December?
Why it's in December?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that. Well, now don't we think that it's the birth of Christ was actually in like April or in the spring?
We always knew that.
Okay, I don't know why it's the
Easter.
25th.
So there was a pagan Roman holiday that was really popular in December, and when the Roman Empire converted to Christianity, they still wanted to celebrate that holiday because they had fun. So it's like, well, we can't have Christians celebrating a pagan holiday, so let's just move Christmas there, and they can keep celebrating, but they're celebrating Christmas now.
And that is how we tie this episode to the Roman Empire. Everything,
Always thinking about it.
all
always.
roads lead to Rome.
And to an Iowa bowl game win.
I don't have much to say about the Iowa Bowl game. We're playing Missouri.
Luther Burden now he's sitting out, their receiver.
So their best receiver is sitting out. Okay, so
sure.
I don't know if the line changes on that game.
Still Hawks +3, I think.
I think it shifted a half a point. I think we were.
Give me the Hawks by
Which
$1 million.
is crazy. That dude's worth more than half a point.
Give me the Hawks by $1 million. How about that?
I don't know if I can put that in on our.
There's no alternative.
I don't know if our soon-to-be title sponsor, Sportsbook, would allow us that.
Yeah, doubtful, but the
Hey,
odds
are we selling this pick? This presented by who is it? Somebody's landscaping company last time or something?
Green Tree Care.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite company ever, Green Tree Care.
Yeah, sponsorships are wide open. We would like to work with anyone who wants to pay us. We will.
I will take the Hawks +3. I think they're excited to play this game. Can't tell you how excited Missouri is to play that game. Don't know their program. Didn't watch a whole lot of the games. I think they're actually one of the more overrated teams in the SEC.
Totally.
They didn't do anything really that spectacular, in my opinion, this year.
There you go. There's
I also can't stand Eli Drinkwitz. I cannot stand him.
He's a little weird. I don't love him. And they just got Pribula, which was the guy we were going after. So more fuel on the fire. Like, this is just our time.
I think the most impressive thing they did all year was losing to South Carolina by 4.
I know they traveled to a tough environment at UMass. You know that's what they say. You don't want to travel to UMass.
Kevin Grant would call that a signature loss.
They beat UMass though.
No,
just look at their schedule.
South Carolina.
Statement loss to South Carolina.
Beat Boston College by 6. Beat Vanderbilt by 3. Lost to A&M by 31. Yeah, beat UMass. Okay, UMass is the worst team in college football. Beat Auburn by 4. Lost to Alabama by 34. Beat Oklahoma by 7. Lost to South Carolina by 4. Beat Mississippi State, who I think was 2-10 by 9.
Lost by 40 to Toledo this year.
Beat 500 Arkansas team by a touchdown. Like, why? Like, I get it. They won a bunch of games, but
I'm changing my pick. Hawks by $2 million after I heard all of that.
That one is available actually on the sportsbook.
Good.
I get it. They're a 9-3 SEC team. Credit to them, but that schedule is nothing to brag about.
No. That's it. I'm literally getting off this podcast, changing my clothes, and we're on the way to Marshalltown. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Hope you get the gifts that you wanted and you're able to spend time with the people that you love. It's been another great year. If we don't do that recap podcast after the game, thank you for everything in 2024. We're looking forward to 2025. Walk-ons will continue on. We will talk to you maybe in the new year. Maybe not. I really haven't. We're 50-50. We'll see you then.
What?